absolutely.
Okay.
Thank everyone for joining today. I know we record the sessions and some people tune in later, which is great, but it's always great to have a nice mix of people in person. And probably some of you have been on my last sentence, which have been March and December. I did some sessions here.
Mhm.
So we'll go through a little painting exercise today. I'm a neurologist, but that's not what we're focusing on today. I not only love art, but I do art. These are my paintings behind me. I do have a website that I can send you guys in the chat towards the end to check out some
Thank
paintings
you.
I've done, but it's not updated. It's probably a couple years old since I haven't updated all my more recent paintings, but I'll try to show you guys some more through the session. And I like that we are incorporating mindfulness into art and to help us with our migraine journeys. So there's, I think, a lot to learn about that and a lot to help all of us. So we'll dive right in there. Our first session back in December, I had the theme of trees. And then the second session in March, we did a theme of color block. This week, I'm going to share my screen. Let me share screen. All right. So this week, our theme is going to be water. So we're going to go ahead and dive in there. And then I just want to say this is great timing because June is National Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. So here at the end of May, we have a lot of activities here in June. We have some Miles for Migraine walks. I'm based in Chicago. Now I used to be Colorado, and before that, Baltimore. So lots of different activities to get involved in. So over here, you'll see a painting that probably looks familiar to many of you. It's Claude Monet, Water Lilies. He painted this in 1906, and at the time he painted this, he spent the last 20 some years of his life in Giverny, which is a region of France. And this was actually his personal garden in his home that he maintained. He had a pond, he had all these flowers, and his work. Here's a sort of description of the artistic element behind his work that someone kind of remarked upon, an art critic said over time, he became less concerned with conventional pictorial space. By the time he painted his famous water lilies, he had dispensed with the horizon altogether. In this spatially ambiguous canvas, the artist looked down, focusing solely on the surface of the pond, with its cluster of vegetation floating amid the reflection of skies and trees. Monet thus created the image of a horizontal surface on a vertical one. So a lot of content there in that caption, but basically talking about if you look back at that painting, there is no sky, there's no sort of boundary. It was just the reflection of his pond and all of the vegetation on it, as well as the reflection of that around it. So really kind of artistic in the way he captured it. Monet also had this quote right here that said, "One instant, one aspect of nature contains it all." So that's going to be our inspiration today, to kind of think about nature, think about water elements in nature, whether that be a pond, rain, a lake, a river, a creek, the ocean. But I think there's a lot of different forms that water can take, just like there's a lot of different forms of migraine, a lot of different forms of pain, a lot of different forms of expression. That's going to be our inspiration today as we dive into our little artistic adventure here. So just a couple other sort of things to kind of inspire you in the work we're going to do. You want to be present in the moment. So try to forget all of the other things that are going on and just take this 30-minute session to kind of release all of those stressors and just focus on nature and whichever sort of element of water or form of water is calling out to you. You can see some turbulence of an ocean here, but yet farther in the horizon, you see some calmer waters, a reflection of the sun. Over here, you can see a watercolor painting of some water droplets on a leaf. I have the artist here, Sheba, credited for her beautiful watercolor. And then we're going to also think about gratitude in our work today, which is an element of mindfulness. So what things are you thankful for? What things, even on a daily basis, are you thankful for? Because that has really been shown to help us in our healing process. And another famous artwork a lot of you may have seen, it's The Great Wave of Mount Fuji by Katsushiko Hokusai, one of my favorites. It's kind of a more rigid interpretation of an ocean with some firm lines and borders there. But it kind of goes to show you that whether you're picturing an ocean like this with smoother colors, more natural flow, or whether you have an interpretation that's a little bit more rigid or pictorial, your view of space, just like Monet, can be your own interpretation. You don't have to have a horizon. You don't have to follow any rules. You can color outside the line, if you will. So allow your mind to wander and separate your worries and thoughts from the surface. So on your paper, any sort of paper that you have, we're going to kind of take the next 20 minutes to use these inspirations, and I'll keep them on the screen for people to kind of reference and look at as we go. You can play background music like ocean waves if you want, and kind of give me a little interpretation of how the water element strikes you today. And then at the end, we can share some of our work if you want to, not required though. And I usually do colored pencils and paper, but for me, because it's a water theme today, I am doing a little bit of watercolor myself. But you don't have to, and you can do pencil and paper, which I also might incorporate into mine as well. In a few minutes, we'll start to talk about or share some work if anyone wants to. And if not, I'll kind of show you mine and some thoughts I had behind it. So I want everyone to feel free to continue to draw or paint. I'm just going to kind of show you what I put together. Watercolor, I think, was great for this, not only because the theme is kind of water, but water is obviously pretty free flowing. So I encourage everyone, if you've had any interest in watercolor, to pick up a little teeny tiny set from the craft store and explore with it, because it's really relaxing, it's really fun, and it's really hard to stay in the lines. It really just flows and kind of becomes its own work with a little bit of help from you. So I don't paint with watercolor as often as I should or want to, but this is just kind of what I came up with today. Obviously using blues and greens for my palette, common watercolors. which I think are calming and relaxing. But my inspiration for this was really the classic kind of drop of water on a pond with a ripple effect that I kind
Mhm.
of love for a variety of reasons. There's the ripples, which in a mindfulness perspective kind of makes you think about how one small thing each day can affect so many other things, whether you're thinking about a small thing that happened in your day, something you forgot, something you didn't forget, maybe a pain that you have and how it affects you the rest of your day, how it affects your interactions with others. So you can really kind of interpret it a lot of different ways that one small little drop of water on a still pond can really make this ripple effect super far out. Um, so even though it's one migraine or one small thing that happened that day, it can really affect us until the water calms again. So I incorporated a couple different colors. Some of these are a little bit more well-defined lines, and other ones are kind of just blurring into the next. So I really like watercolors for that reason. So again, if you have any interest in watercolors, I think it's a really fun medium to work with. Would love to see anyone else's, but again, no pressure. You don't have to share. Ooh, Kirsten is showing hers. That's the first one I glanced at the screen. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like some watercolors.
Wow.
It looks beautiful. You can see that beautiful kind of flowing, smudgy effect, a lot of blues and greens. It almost looks like a lake with mountains, if you could tell us more. I know you may, I think you're nodding, but I don't know if you have an audio, but it's just beautiful. Looks like some trees over there on the left side.
Um, Unfortunately, Kirsten's audio is having difficulties.
There we go. Sorry.
Oh, you
Oh,
found it. Good, good.
Yeah, so it was supposed to be a lake with some trees, but it got a little muddy from not letting different colors dry. So I just used a lot of water and dropped other colors onto it, and then moved it around and let it
perfect.
settle where it wanted to settle.
I love that effect. The water at the bottom with the purples looks amazing. Watercolors are both, I think, calming, but also a little bit frustrating to work with. So
Yeah,
kind of reminiscent of sort of everything in life. Nothing's too easy, but
yeah.
you're right. They can either pleasantly turn into their own masterpiece or sometimes not exactly how you envisioned it, but also a very cool effect. I love it.
Just kind of doing what it wants to do, like
Yeah,
letting go of control and letting it move around.
exactly right. Something that we all need to do so we don't control everything. We just have to sometimes let things be.
Yeah, I've started painting watercolors this year for that reason.
It's amazing.
I practiced law for a very long time and I retired because of my
Oh.
grades. And I've
So,
started to do watercolor because I can't control
yep, a very regimented field with a lot of control and some outlet to kind of
it. Yeah,
let things be without all of the control. That's amazing.
but it's fun. Anyway,
Thank
thank
you for sharing, Kirsten. I see Christine is holding up.
Kirsten's, yours is so beautiful. I love that palette. It looks like you were working on it for hours. It's really gorgeous. Mine's kind of light, so but it was just like I love the Monet water lilies, especially the
Yes.
purple ones. So I was just kind of taking that. I don't know if it's a migraine brain thing. Does everybody else like Monet's water lilies? For some reason, it's very soothing.
So beautiful. I love yours with the pastels. You're
Yeah.
right. It's very much like Monet's. I love that. I don't think we incorporate enough purple into things. It's one of those colors that you don't think you find in nature, but you actually do if you think about it. And of course, purple is Miles for Migraine's color, and that's what we wear at all of our Miles for Migraine walks. But um, your piece and how you incorporated purple, and it reminds me of how I told my 3-year-old the other day, if you look at the sky, what colors do you see in it? And of course, they say blue and they say white. And I said, well, what other colors? There's pinks, there's peaches, there's yellows, but there's purple. And my husband was like, there's no purple in the sky. And I was like, yeah, it's right there. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of purple. So it's a great color to incorporate into your water.
Great. And thanks for the art class. And I didn't know you were a neurologist until today. That's so fabulous to know as well.
Yup, that's my day job.
Um,
Anyone else? I see Jim. Are you outside or in a three-season room by any chance? Because I love your background. I can't tell if it's like a picture or a painting or if you're outside.
That's a photograph I took when I was fly fishing.
I love it. You know what? I remember asking you about it on a previous session because I loved it as well.
Oh, thank you.
I just love that. That's such a great photo.
Well, thank you.
That's when you're supposed to tell us, yeah, I'm just like in my backyard and I set up
I
a whole like
wish.
art table and yeah, and that's when
That's over in the Eastern Sierra
very cool.
in California. It's across the mountains there in California on
That's
the other
beautiful.
side, near
Very
the Nevada
relaxing.
border,
Hmm.
where I go fly fishing every year.
Which is also a manifestation of water with the fish jumping out of the water.
I wish. The reason I go over there is that it's a sport that you don't have to actually catch fish at or do anything, just be out there, and it's
Yeah,
just as enjoyable. I've never
that's
kept one,
very true. Yeah,
so thank you.
no problem. Anyone else want to share their piece? Again, you don't have to. Fran is showing us her work. I think you have the blurring focus on, so you have to find the right distance from the camera to unblur it. And then don't forget to unmute your audio if you want to tell us a little bit about.
I don't know if you can see it.
Wonderful, yeah.
It's a waterfall. That was the intent,
Oh,
to make a waterfall and kind of a lake up on the top, the water, and then the greens,
yeah.
the hill. So artistically, it was, I don't know if it gives the impression of falling, but that was the first thing that came to mind when you said the
Oh.
water theme.
That's
So,
perfect. And that's the interesting part of this. Everyone has a first thing that comes to mind, and it could be totally different. For me, I kind of
Yeah.
thought of raindrops and maybe a puddle and the splash of each individual raindrop. For someone else, you thought about, falling water like a waterfall or rainfall. And for other people, it could be a lake or a still lake. So that's really beautiful. That piece would be another good one to do if you pick up some watercolors and just
Yeah.
kind of lay down some water and let it flow. You'll get some really cool colors in there. I love that theme. Very good. Anybody else? I know Tom, I think, has been in a previous session and has showed us his work. I don't want to call anyone out, but
It's not a Monet, but I live in Philadelphia, and what we do on the weekends and vacation, we go to New Jersey Shore, southern New Jersey. We stay on the beach, and there's the lifeguard, the lifeboat, the people with the beach towels,
oh,
the waves of the ocean. I said the lifeguard. There's a boat out there with a jet skier hanging on. They jet ski down
oh,
there,
oh,
so you can just lay on the beach under the umbrella, relax, and it's very, very soothing. Just watch
yeah.
life go by, and people are in the ocean. Some people are swimming. Some people are sleeping. Some people have iPads. They're on their phones. I don't bring any technology. I have my headphones. I listen to an oldie station from Atlantic City, 50s and 60s, and I fall asleep till like 6:30. I'm the last person off the beach at 6:30. I take my shower and just relax. But it's just
What?
something relaxing about the lull of the ocean waves. And I just painted this or drew it to show that one of my happy places is the New Jersey Shore on the beach on vacation in August. It just takes me away from the pain and the fibro and the
Mm,
bad things at home that you have to deal with, like work and everything. So
yeah,
thanks
yeah.
for sharing us today. And I see, Dr. Jen, you did this with a white shirt. You did watercolors, and you're amazing. I need to put a smock on just to like touch up paint in my house, but it's very amazing. Thank you for the training.
One would say it's my lack of thinking about that. When every time you open a bottle, you never know when it's going to splash. But I think I've learned from having kids, no matter what you wear, it's probably going to get wrecked anyway. So you either have to have a good stain remover or just let it be, let it flow. I've definitely turned a couple of nice shirts into like artistic recreations of like, all right, this is going to be my like very artsy shirt. So, but I love what you described, and that's a good point. You know, we all go to the beach, but you can enjoy the water without being in the water. So many people sit on the beach and we look at it, we listen to it, all of the different sensations. So water is something that can be seen, can be felt, can be enjoyed in many different ways. So that's beautiful. I love those memories of beaches.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Evan. Thank you, Jen. This I found very relaxing tonight. I just moved to an area where I look over water or a lake.
Oh,
Um, it is my happy place. So
I love that. It's
You
it's
at Lake
my
Montebello.
goal too. I think it's everyone's goal to have something that's water nearby, whether it's in your backyard or a view or a place you go to on the weekend to look forward to. I think that's a really good aspect to have.
Actually, I have a small water feature in my backyard with a tiny stream and a little waterfall,
Oh my gosh.
sort of Japanese style.
That sounds amazing. You could do
So
another one of these outside while kind of looking at the little stream and kind of being inspired by it too.
yeah, I used to have koi in it too. Some blue herrings got a hold of them.
Oh yeah. I've been thinking about putting a koi pond in my backyard, and I've been reading about them, and apparently raccoons can fish them out and birds and
Well,
sad.
there's a device that was very helpful that I installed afterwards, but it's a sprinkler that
Hmm.
has a motion detector in it. And some of them are solar powered. And when something moves in front of it, it shoots out for about 10 seconds a hard stream of water, one of those like irrigation, ones in the golf courses
Mhm.
and stuff. And they don't like that at all, and they go
Mm.
running.
Oh, like it shoots it to the fish to tell the fish to hide?
No, it shoots it in the garden or in the lawn or in the area.
Oh,
So basically the animal scampers to get away from it.
oh. I was gonna say someone's thought of something for everything, so that's really good.
Yeah, they're available on Amazon, but they work.
Hmm. Hmm. I'll keep that in mind if I ever go for the koi pond.
They're
Thank you all so much for participating, and I want to encourage you all again, do this as much as you want. It's such a short little exercise, 10, 20 minutes, and you can do it with any of these little inspirations from your backyard or a local park or even just a little fountain you see somewhere in a public area. So thank you all for being here today. I always enjoy the input and seeing everyone's work.
well,
And
thank you
enjoy
very
June
much.
for Migraine Awareness Month and wear some purple.
Okay. Thank you so